How we doing, guys? It is Michael, Zappy, and Richie Hicks here for the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast. Welcome back, guys. It is a mixed bag here on the show. We are doing a World Series preview with predictions as well as some trade deadline predictions. The Houston Astros looking to win their first untainted title against the Philadelphia Phillies. I get the same feeling I did when the Patriots played the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Who do I root for? No one. Because the way I look at it is that a team that I despise will lose no matter what. I think you guys can figure who I dislike more, but I will not say that I'm rooting for the Phillies. I refuse to say that.
Your
Zappy,
colors.
How do you see this going, man? Game one, we got Justin Verlander against Aaron Nola. What are your predictions on how this series plays out? For those who don't know, the format is 2-3-2. So 2 in Houston, 3 in Philly, the final 2 in Houston if it goes that far.
Well, first of all, let me just add that while you hate Houston, I think it only goes back to because of 2017, because before that, really, that you hate Houston. And
Um, uh, no.
no, and then we can really look at this Houston team and ask ourselves, well, they were found guilty of cheating, and there's still the rumors that Jose Altuve wasn't a part of that. They
I'll
still
be
have to
honest,
hit the ball.
I don't even care
They
because
still
the
have to hit the
reality,
ball.
the reality is that we've had other opportunities and we just can't beat them.
You
So
can't
it
beat
is
them.
what it is.
But this is to me, this is not a Yankee rivalry. Like, this is not the Red Sox. But anyways, this is exactly who I thought was going to represent the AL from day one, and here we are. We're going into the World Series, and the Astros have exactly been what I thought they would be: the best team with the best pitching, the best lineup, the best bullpen, everything. I mean, you talk about a team that was down and out against the Mariners a couple times, a team that was down and out against the Yankees a couple times, and they found a way to win every time. And here they are, haven't lost a playoff game. I'm not saying they're going to come out and sweep the Phillies, but to me, this team seems focused, and I credit a lot of that to Dusty Baker. This guy has come into a great situation, and they have just gone from there. And while Dusty Baker did make mention, was it yesterday, I believe, that this is the first World Series that a non-USA born black athlete is not playing in the World Series, I still say, well, there's still a lot of black athletes playing in it. It's a credit to baseball and how much that they go out further to other countries where other sports tend to keep it more within the international or within the continental United States. Um, this Houston team is too good. They're way too good. They have way too many bats. And as I thought Justin Verlander was going to bounce back against the Yankees, he did. And I look at everyone, including Pena. It's really hard to find a hole in their lineup. And then you look at the Phillies. This Phillies team is very similar to the 2019 Washington Nationals team, but I just don't know if the Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber can overcome this pitching, because we know Houston has been there before. They have seen this story and they lost. But I can't. I'm taking Houston in this one. Yeah, this is the third team to go undefeated in the division series and then championship series, but they lost in the World Series. I think Houston will be the first team to actually not go undefeated and then lose in the World Series. I think they come out on top. I will say the Phillies will beat them. I think they will take one in Houston. That's game two. And I think they take one of their home games, but ultimately I think Houston wins in six.
All right. I myself got them winning game 2 in Houston. The problem is I also have them winning game 1 in Houston. The way this is going to shake up is going to be a little weird. I've got the Phillies taking a 2-0 lead. I've got the Astros winning 2 out of 3 on the road. And then I've got the Phillies losing the final 2 games of the series in Houston in a 7-game situation. I think you're going to see a couple of very high-scoring games here. I think you're going to see something that looks like a low-scoring football game. I think you're going to have that one weird game where it's like 14-11 or something. I'll post our picks here. I've got this going Astros 4-3. You've got it going Astros 4-2, as you just stated. And we actually agree on our World Series MVP, Alex Bregman and Alex Bregman. They are the same person. If it's not Bregman, I'll go on a limb. Ryan Presley, because it might be a situation where he literally gets every save. Just random. He's feeling very good about himself because the team that has owned him, the New York Yankees, he pitched very well against. Speaking of the Yankees, I'm going to make this short and sweet. I have a scenario should Aaron Judge leave the New York Yankees, which I do legitimately think is 50-50. How do the Yankees recover quickly? Xander Bogaerts, I do believe that could be a play. In a perfect world, Jacob deGrom and Brandon Nimmo. I think we'll get the latter. I think we get Nimmo. If it's not Nimmo, I think we bring back Benintendi. When you lose a player of Aaron Judge's caliber, because it is a reality Yankee fans have to think of, it could happen. One of the biggest things to recover, you still need a leadoff hitter, you still need speed, and you still need defense. So I feel that Nimmo or Benintendi fits the bill. To be quite frank with you, you could see a situation where the Yankees get both of them, along with Xander Bogaerts. Then when you factor in the young kids like the Perazzas, like the Cabreras, Giancarlo Stanton, you hope can be serviceable on a level of nobody's going to replace Aaron Judge like that. But it's been proven in recent years that when superstar players move on from great organizations, the great organizations sometimes take the next step. By no means am I saying that Aaron Judge has held back the Yankees. If anything, I believe that Aaron Judge is the only reason the Yankees were a playoff team, let alone a division winner, let alone in the ALCS. I guess what I'm doing here is a Yankees eulogy because this is the last time I'm going to speak about the Yankees in a while, so I'm just going to let it rip before we get on football. What caused the Yankees to not meet their goal of appearing in the World Series this year? There are a few variables. I've seen a lot of Yankee fans getting very angry about Josh Donaldson, Gio Urshela deal. Yankee fans, I didn't like the trade either. But the reason why it happened is because in order to get rid of something bad, you had to get something bad. And what we got rid of was Gary Sanchez. This wasn't about Gio Urshela. This wasn't about Josh Donaldson. This was about getting rid of Gary Sanchez. During the course of the year, the Yankees found that they have a lot of infield depth moving forward. Should IKF return, he goes to the bench. I also want to make a mention that DJ LeMayu's injury was also tough, and that was another thing along with Matt Carpenter. But the biggest injury of all, Michael King. Michael King was the best pitcher in our bullpen, and it was a perfect storm of things that didn't go our way. Guys being taxed out in the pen. However, on a positive flip side of this, Matt Blake has done a great job with the Yankees pitching staff, and I do believe that the Frankie Montes addition will pay dividends next year when he actually has a full season and a full spring training with this organization. When you sit out 2 weeks while getting traded, it is very easy to lose momentum. Having said all that, I'm optimistic that Aaron Judge stays. Friend of the show, Sergio Rodriguez, was on roughly a month ago, and he feels that the Yankees should let Judge go. Judge is 30 years old after all, but he's coming off one of the greatest seasons in the history of the sport. Stay tuned. And while we talk about player movement, and while we talk about trade deadlines, things of that nature, Zappy and I have put together 8 players that are on our minds, 1 via free agency, 7 via potential trade, on where their destinations are going to be and why they're going to be there. I'm going to let Zappy start this off. Cam Akers. These are our predicted destinations. I'm going to retype that in. You got so. What are your thoughts on Cam Akers, and why do you think he makes sense for the Broncos? Zap?
Well, obviously the Broncos, they took a huge loss when I can't even remember his name. That's when they lost. Oh my goodness, this is killing me now. I feel embarrassed. When they lost their starting running back to a season-ending injury. Please help me out here.
What's wrong now?
The running back that the Broncos lost for the year. I'm drawing blanks right now.
Javonte Williams.
Javonte Williams. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Melvin Gordon. He had the opportunity to take over that role, but then he was outplayed.
He was outplayed. He was outplayed. It was going to happen. It was bound to happen. Javonte was playing at a good level, even in a bad offense. Unfortunately, he had a terrible injury.
No, I'm not even talking about Javonte. I'm talking about Latavius Murray coming into that offense and taking over the number 1 role in his first game as a Bronco when that should have been Melvin Gordon taking over. It just goes to show more how bad that Broncos team is. The Broncos need a running back. They need a running back bad. And, this might be the move that can save their head coach's job. Probably not. But they need someone else they can rely on. And as far as Cam Akers goes, this guy needs a fresh start. I mean, this is a guy that many fantasy owners drafted early, 4th round, 5th round type running back who has just not been there, and he showed a lot of hope, especially when he came back after that ruptured Achilles last year. And, obviously he hasn't fit well with Sean McVay in that offense this year. And sometimes a fresh start is needed on both parties. I believe 100% that Cam Akers will not be a Ram. Now, whether he is traded or released, that's to be said. But when it comes to running back that needs him, I strongly believe that the Broncos are a team that can use him, and they're really not that far out. If you really look at that division.
I agree with everything you said, Zap. The reason that I am predicting that he could go to the Raiders, it's a simple reason, really. Josh Jacobs is a good ball player, but when they lost the Kenyon Drake dynamic and didn't exactly have the next idea should Jacobs get hurt, which he does tend to miss games, I think Akers just needs a fresh start. I think he could be very good in this Raiders offense, a Raiders team that shouldn't quit on the playoffs just yet. Moving it along to our next player, we both agree on this one. Mike Gesicki. We both got him going to the New York Giants, and the reason I believe that he is going to the Giants is because in Miami's offense, he is no longer featured as a pass catcher. He's become primarily a blocker. And for a guy who can offer so much more to a team, I feel that it's very frustrating. The other angle is, at a game I attended this past week, Daniel Bellinger, we don't know the severity. We know the severity. We just don't know how long he's going to be out with the eye injury. And there is a big dip in terms of tight end play after Bellinger with Hudson and with Myrick. This would be a huge move for the Giants that could not be all that expensive. If he moves, which I think he will, I think it's to the Giants. That will be revealed.
Yeah, and that move makes the most sense, honestly, because of the simple fact, like how you alluded to Danny Bellinger. he's another player that needs a new change of scenery. You know, he had a bright future ahead of him when he was first drafted by Miami. But the other team I'm going to keep an eye on is Jacksonville. You know, I believe bringing in another tight end to go along with Evan Ingram could make a lot of sense. But just ultimately, I believe Brian Dable would benefit a lot, as well as Daniel Jones, by bringing in a Mike Gesicki into that offense.
Because I think Mike Gesicki offers a lot. It's just that people have forgotten because he's not offering it in that offense similar to other players on other teams. We saw it with the Tony trade. We're going to see it with other player movement. Galladay, not this year, but Galladay won't be a Giant next year. It's all about systems and who fits in them. Gesicki, unfortunately for him, doesn't fit in the Giants anymore. I know my buddy Gary Teeter would be very excited about him being a Giant. He has had a few conversations actually with Gesicki's father. Jerry Jeudy. I got him going to the Giants, and Zappy does as well. This is a no-brainer to me. I think Jerry Jeudy, when you talk about you have him under team control, it's going to come with a price, though. That third rounder that we just received from the Kansas City Chiefs is probably going to get paired with a second rounder as well if we want to snag Jeudy. I don't necessarily know if it would require a first rounder. It could. I don't think it will. But yeah, I got him going to the Giants. I don't think the Giants make both these moves. It's one or the other. If I had to take a guess, my guess is that the Giants are going to frustrate the fans and not get the receiver and get the tight end. But I'll take either one. I'd love to see them both show up. But that does leave the door open for this other guy that we used to have if we don't get Jeudy.
Yeah, and I look at Jerry Jeudy, and I look at a guy that one of the teams he had on his list was the New York Giants, as well as the Chiefs.
He was in Newark. I don't know. I don't know about the authenticity of the report, but I did read that he was in Newark recently.
Wow, so he wants to be a Jet. Okay.
It gotta be. Yeah.
And he's been linked to Dallas a lot, but the reason why I'm going to eliminate Dallas is simply because Jerry Jeudy and CeeDee Lamb both came out of the same draft. And if you take a trade on Jerry Jeudy, that means you have to pay two receivers the same offseason.
They've already
see it happening.
How they felt about certain things, letting Coop walk, which is not very popular with Cowboy fans.
It's not, but it allowed them to run the ball, so I'll say that.
Yeah.
But, no, Jerry Jeudy, I think he just, you look at the Giants, they traded away Kadarius Toney. It's pretty clear that Galladay is not going to be a part of that team anymore. Darius Slayton has been playing well. They lost, what's his name, to a torn ACL. We thought it might have been a career ender, but it could very well be a career ender just simply because of where he's at in his career.
Yeah, Sterling Shepard is not going to play another. He will not play another game in his career. I'd be very surprised if he does.
And so, you're looking at the Giants losing two receivers, so they need something in return. That's why I think Jerry Jeudy makes the most sense. But I also believe
I don't think it's out of the question that the Giants could get both these players.
They might be able to get both players, but it's also going to depend on what the return is for each player. And if you're looking at a third for each or something, then it can happen. But as far as if it's a second this year and a third next year for Jeudy, are the Giants really going to give up a third this year? I don't think so. I don't think they're going to give up a second and a third in this upcoming draft. So it really just depends. If you can get Gesicki for a 6th-round pick, then yeah, absolutely pull the trigger.
I'd take him even for a 5th, to be honest. I wouldn't go any higher than a 5th, though. Bradley Chubb. Go ahead, Zap. Why you got him going to the Vikes?
I look at this Vikings team, and offensively, it's really hard to find a hole on their offense. You can maybe point to their offensive line, but it's easy to eliminate that when you have a lot of playmakers on that offensive side. But defensively, they haven't really had that pass rushing dynamic defender. And insert a Bradley Chubb into that defense, I think that can actually go a long way and hide a lot of their indifferences with their secondary because their secondary hasn't been playing bad. But if you put a Bradley Chubb into that front seven, it's going to help hide some of those errors that the secondary has had. So that's why I say the Vikings. I wanted to say the Bengals, but I have another player going to the Bengals, and that's why I think Bradley Chubb makes the most sense going to Minnesota.
I like it. I like it. Reason that I have him going to the Bengals is similar to the reason why you have him going to the Vikings. We kind of agree that between Cam Jordan or Bradley Chubb, one of them should go to the Bengals if they are serious about taking the next step this year in a very competitive AFC North and further than that. Yeah, I just happen to feel that it's Bradley Chubb. And the reason I think it's Bradley Chubb is because I don't think the Saints are going to let Cam Jordan go. Simple. That's it. But the Broncos will let Bradley Chubb go because they're in all disarray and trying to figure it out. That's essentially why the Bengals definitely need him, and he does fit the defensive scheme that the Bengals run. Cam Jordan, I just said it. He stays put. You have him going to the Bengals.
Yeah, and I ultimately I think for the Bengals it's between Bradley Chubb or a Cam Jordan. If you really look at it, I mean, Bradley Chubb's younger, but he's more injury prone. The Bengals now more than ever need to make a move on that defensive side of the ball, especially since they now just lost Jamar Chase for 4 to 6 weeks or possibly the season. So if you can insert a Cam Jordan or Bradley Chubb, you're winning either way.
Yeah,
So,
well,
but
yeah,
I
yeah.
just,
They're
I
also
just
very
think,
comparable in terms of skill sets, but I think I'm partial to Cam Jordan. I just think I just really think he's that great. I really do.
and it's hard to see him in another uniform. It really is.
And I think that's also why I kind of want him to stay there. I like when certain players stay with certain teams. I just feel that he's a Saint, and that's where he belongs.
Yeah, and I agree. And the Cam Jordan one is one of those that I don't necessarily know if the Saints will even part ways with him. But if there's ever a defensive end that team needs to get, it would be a Cam Jordan. But we know for a fact Bradley Chubb is available, and it might take something a little stronger than what the Broncos got in return for Von Miller last year. Because when you really think about it, Bradley Chubb is a younger player than what Von Miller was or is, and I mean you're a team that just came off of that close to winning the Super Bowl, and when you needed pass rushing help. So if you can get either one of those two players, I think you're in good shape, even if
No,
Jamar Chase is out.
I don't even know why they need a pass rusher. I mean, Eli Apple is such a lockdown corner. Why do you need anybody?
He's
But
the best corner in the league.
oh, absolutely. Shout out Brett. I can't believe that Brett went to bat for that clown. Anyway, moving it along, Brandon Cooks. Brett's familiar with this guy. He was a Patriot for a little bit. He's been around the league quite a bit. He always is wanted, but is often moved. You've got them going to the Packers, as do I. Reason I have him going to the Packers is because I'm thinking about other names that have been thrown in the hat that they're talking about. Chase Claypool, AJ Green, too injury prone. The reason I think Cooks makes a ton of sense is because out of those three, he has the most upside, unless the Packers want to wait for December and get Odell. But if they wait till December, they're going to be out of the race. I think he makes the most sense. It's Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, same thing. The Packers, they need that veteran leadership. They need someone that can come on and be a number one now. And it's crazy that Brandon Cooks, yet again, a receiver that never gets talked about, but year in and year out, he puts up numbers. He performs, and I think he's played for every NFL team as well as XFL and USFL and Canadian. I mean, this guy has played for so many teams, but yet he just continues to perform. He is one of the most under the radar receivers. But when you look at Green Bay, yeah, I guess Aaron Rodgers wants AJ Green, but really, does it make sense? I mean, from a leadership
I don't
standpoint,
know why he
maybe.
wants him so bad. I really don't. The
I
guy's
don't
always
either.
injured.
He's always injured, but Brandon Cooks kind of brings a similar I mean, similar, not skill set. AJ Green's a much better receiver overall, but today Brandon Cooks is a better receiver. He's younger than AJ. So it's one of those. I just think that if you need veteran leadership, Sammy Watkins obviously is not the answer. Randall
No,
Cobb is
no.
not the
I
answer
don't even know how Sammy Watkins is still in the NFL.
because he went to Clemson. That's why. No, it blows my mind as well. But I think Brandon Cooks just makes the most sense. The only thing is, it's his contract. But there's ways to work around it. There's always ways to
Absolutely.
work around it.
And I'm sure he'd be very excited to get out of Houston, play with Aaron Rodgers. And I just said this on a previous show. The rapport that he had with Randall Cobb on a very porous Texans team from 2020, this is a good fit for all parties concerned, and I actually hope it happens. Chase Claypool, this is our final one with with trade, and the next one will be a free agency one. Short and sweet, the reason why I have him going to the New England Patriots is because this is his first chance to potentially have an opportunity to be the main guy. It's not Devontae Parker, not on a consistent basis. Jacoby Myers, until proven otherwise, is still the best receiver on this team. But I do think that this change of scenery, change of philosophy could be good for Claypool. It's just not it in Pittsburgh. I think the best landing spot for him, and I think you were the one who said this first, would have been Kansas City, especially the fact that him and Juju have that rapport together. That almost would have been a no-brainer, but you made a good point that the reason Kadarius Toney went to the Chiefs is because it's what they were able to afford. Yeah, I got him going to the Patriots.
Yeah, I don't think the Eagles are done. I really don't think the Eagles are done. I think they're going to, or actually, I'm fairly confident they're going to make another trade. The Eagles are the team this year that is going all in. They went out, they got a steal of a trade with Robert Quinn. I mean, I can't believe they gave up a fourth for him.
That's why it's going to be so sweet when they lose in the second round and it sets up an NFC title game in East Rutherford, New Jersey, between the Dallas Cowboys and the Giants. It's going to be so freaking cool. But, yeah.
It's whatever it is. No, I just think the Eagles know that they need another offensive weapon. It might be receiver or it might be another tight end. Either way, they need to go after somebody.
I did think about the potential of a tight end, and that's why I wouldn't rule out Gesicki. I wouldn't rule him out. Yeah, he makes the most sense actually if they're.
And they play each other this weekend too, so that's what makes even more sense. It just they're there, they see each other. Hey, you're only what is it, a 5-hour drive or something like that? You got to head east now. And that's an offense that Chase Claypool can come into where he doesn't have to be the number one. That clearly belongs to AJ Brown. Necessarily doesn't need to be the number two because that's Devontae Smith.
Correct.
But it allows Devontae Smith to play more in the slot and allows Claypool to do what he does best. So as much as I hate saying it, I just think that makes the most sense for him and the Eagles.
Lastly, the most prolific name on this list, Odell Beckham Jr. Last year helped the Rams win a Super Bowl. Von Miller has said numerous times that it's in the bag, that he's going to Buffalo, but I know a lot of these guys like to have fun with the media. The reason I'm going to say he goes to the Rams, and it's the same reason I said it in week one and the same reason why you said it. The Rams need him more than the Bills do, and Odell wants to be wanted. Not saying that the Bills don't want him, but I think he makes more sense for the Rams. I actually think his presence could actually open things up for the rest of that receiving corps, particularly Allen Robinson, who we have both been very critical of. I think the presence of Odell can open things up, and I also think it gives the Rams an opportunity to make a late push to try to defend their title. That's all I got on that, though. I mean, you saw what he did there last year. No, they're not the same team, but I still think it's a solid fit. Of course, I want him to go to the G-Men, but if it should happen, I don't think it happens until next season.
Yeah, and we can sit there and talk about Von Miller. I mean, Michael Irvin has been on record for saying that he's got his sources that he's coming to Dallas, that OBJ has said he'd be interested in playing for Dallas. I would love to see him with the star on his helmet, especially he can hide a lot of those little things that Dallas is missing right now. If he can come in and play right in the slot or allow CD Lamb to go in the slot, either way, I just think the most sense if he's looking for the ring, if he's looking for a situation where he doesn't have to come in and be the number one or number two receiver, the most sense makes is the Bills. I mean, really, think about it. You have Gabriel Davis, you have Stephon Diggs.
The odd man out in a clustered slot situation, in my opinion, is probably Jamison Crowder.
Yeah, 100%.
Isaiah McKenzie and potentially OBJ will share that role. This coming Monday, very excited about our show. Details to come. We have a nice little surprise for everyone. Until next time, I am Richie. He is Zappy. And I can't speak for my boy, but I need some damn sleep. This is a pre-record. Look for the show tomorrow morning, guys. Take it easy. We are out.
Good night, y'all, or morning.